Games, board games, board games. This is what I'm talking about. Board game marina, but I'm not gonna shout. Not saying that it's not good. I think it's great, it's very good, but there could be a little bit more consistency across all of the games I see. I think the games should all work the same way, and there needs to be a guide where someone can say what that way should be. Good morning, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you are. 10 a.m. is UK time for Bessie Beats and Board Game Blether, episode 895. I'm talking about Board Game Arena. I think it needs a style guide. I think that there needs to be a style guide for developers. I don't know what resources are being shared, but there could be more stuff like that. I think that, sure, there are some games where it's like, wow, that's an amazing feature, and I don't expect that across everything, like Baron Park, where you are actually allowed to try out stuff and pat and prepare your next move is brilliant. So if the other person doesn't do something to upset your plans, you can just go ahead and do that. But there's a lot of stuff that should be the same. For example, on abstract games about placement, in Go, you click and then it's flashing, and then you click again to say, yes, that's where I want, or you click somewhere else. And there's a lot of other games that use a similar thing. Click again to confirm, click elsewhere to do it. Some places you just click and then click up top to confirm. Some places you click and then it's already confirmed. And you think, oh my gosh, I just misclicked. It was just one click. And it was like this whole game that's been taken, that you put so much energy into, and it's annoying. And then I just want some more consistency. I would ideally like, sorry, let me get that little hashtag out of the banner. I think there should be someone at Board Game Arena whose job it is to know all of the games intimately and be like, okay, this is what's good, this is what's correct. And from now on, I mean, everything else, it's still on the site. We're not going to delete anything. But from now on, going forward, everything needs to be subject to not only people voting to say this is fine, but to someone actually checking that it agrees with all of these things. Because crowdsource stuff like, Wikipedia and Board Game Geek, they have their problems. And I think that there's few enough games coming onto Board Game Arena that it should be, in my opinion, someone's job to play all of them intimately and be like, okay, this is needing a bit more work. And then as time goes on, shifting all of the previous games to be more coalescing. For example, Cat Cafe, a roll and write, where in the game you're writing on your own bit, but in Board Game Arena, if I wait, then the other person eventually has to write on their board, and I'm like, okay, great. Well, now I get the information of whether they're finishing the game or not, because the one bit of interaction is who's got the most balls of yarn on a column and whether they finished the game or not. Anyway, let's take a step back, and I'm going to talk about recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights, recent highlights, playing games and other highlights. Recent highlights. Yesterday, my highlight was definitely getting outside. It was a lovely day, had a good cycle, talked to lots of people, interacted with lots of people, and I am a gregarious person, I think. Someone said that's about me. I actually went to a bar. I got bought a few drinks by a couple of guys. I'd forgotten the number, but I did get a number, and told one of them, pull me up, and I got promises of some beautiful meals in the future. But we'll see what. Anyway, look, that's my personal life. Um, so yeah, what have I enjoyed? What have been my highlights? It's been that, but all through it, I've also enjoyed showing people couple. I've been playing a lot of my own, let me couple, and also a bit of lots of other games on Board Game Arena as well, which is why I made this thing. So yeah, couple, I've got um games always available, because my idea is that if people want to join, if people want to try this game, I want to make it very easy for them. Similarly, I just kind of got up, but I've got these games on the go. One, two, three of them are with people that I know, and those three people would not have played the game if it wasn't for this. And yeah, two of them, it's now their second time playing, and I'm really excited to show it to everyone else. And two people, yeah, it's like people that have no idea who these people are, but they seem quite excited, and it's really nice kind of showing them my game, being able to do that thousands of miles away potentially. So yeah, that is my recent highlights. Brilliant thing, brilliant thing. What's a little thing which is brilliant? I've already talked about the internet. Internet is brilliant. I'm going to talk about um I'm going to talk about skirts that go thigh length, because thigh length skirts specifically, the good thing about them is I can cycle in them, with some leggings or tights, normally leggings if I'm being casual, but cycle all around and they never get stuck into my cycle. I mean, as soon as it goes too far below the knee, or as soon as it becomes too flowy and big, there's a wee chance that it might get caught in my cycle wheel. True story. So yeah, that's why. From and you might say, well, Bez, why don't you just wear trousers? And I think it is. I think just like they're let's not get there wanting to be femme, and there's more comfortable anyway. As always, if you've got any comments, questions, then please get them in. This is why I do these things live. This is why I put these things up on YouTube and everything. And please, I do reply to all respectful questions and comments. So now, I was talking about Board Game Arena. So there's a lot of games there. If I look at the games, and a lot of games that I have never played. I've not played 293 of them, but conversely, there's actually more of them that I have played. I've played 296 of them. So looking at these ones, there's a bunch that are premium. There's a whole bunch more that are available to everyone. And it does seem that is Baron Park a premium game? I can't remember. Baron Park, yep, it is a premium game. It does seem like the premium games are often ones that have a little bit more innovation, a little bit more extra features, like Baron Park, which I mentioned, allows you to actually play your next move. And that's brilliant. Now, I understand that playing your next move is a complicated bit of programming that maybe not everyone can do, and it might not be suitable to every game, and it doesn't need to be in every game. But I think that it's okay. It's an extra feature. It's beyond the baseline. That's fine. It's not a fundamental shift in functionality. Um, and if we look at patchwork. In patchwork, you've got a try it out mode where it doesn't matter. You're not actually placing these things. You can just test these things out and see how your board would fill. And I don't tend to use that because I'm more of I'm going to play by gut. I'm going to play by instincts. I'm just going to feel it out. And I'm in real life, if you play me, first time I play a game, if you know the game, I'll probably lose, and that's okay. I hope and expect to play it a second time, and another time if it's a good game. All I expect by the end of the first game is that I kind of, by the end, have a good understanding of, yeah, that's maybe what I should have done and what I shouldn't have done. But yeah, Patchwork, it's a two-player abstract strategy game with no randomness. You could look into this infinitely. This is I think, combinatorial game, I think it is. But you could look down all the possible branches, and with a hypercomputer, I mean, this is a game that could be solved perfectly and say, yes, but again, each random combination of tiles is a new setup. So for a given combination of tiles, the supercomputer could say, yeah, this is the optimal thing, and player one should always win in perfect play, no matter what player two does. Or maybe in another thing, player two should always win. I don't know. But it would be interesting to run that through a supercomputer. Although, yeah, not sure we yet have the computing ability to brute force that, because there are a lot of possibilities. I mean, possibly equal or maybe even more than Go when I think about it. Because, yeah, the rotations, the flipping, the where it goes. I mean, it's on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And normally, like with that C piece that went on, you could only move it maybe 1, 2, 3, 5 up or 6 left. So it's kind of like being in a 6x6 grid, which is small, but then you multiply it by, okay, you've got 4 rotations. And then suddenly a 6x6 grid becomes equal to a 12x12 grid. I think that's correct. And then the piece that you choose also determines what the next person. And so yeah, that's got a lot going on. And so yeah, it's fine that that has the extra feature. But the real thing that I'm bothered about, is the inconsistencies. Where one game functions like this, one game functions like the other. Like, there's a lot of trick-taking games, and there's a lot of fishing games, by which I mean a lot of the stuff that's played with the Hanafuda cards and also Scopa itself. I mean, where you click to do specific things, even if it's the same action in a different game, might be completely different. I already talked about the fact that in, like, what's it? Sorry. Cat's Cafe by Ali Cat's Games. Once one person plays it, you can see their move immediately. Whereas in other games, it hides that, which is so important. And hiding the move means that there's no advantage to that. And also, there's the question of what do you do when there's no choice to be made? I mean, again, in Cat's Cafe, what do you do if there's 3 5s and you need to select a die? Cat's Cafe has chosen, let's go to Cat Cafe so Cat Cafe has chosen that if there's 3 dice, you still take your turn and you still need to click the dice. Other games have chosen, well, it's an automatic move, we're going to give you the thing automatically. And again, there's inconsistency. That's a key part of inconsistencies and makes me angry. Not makes me angry, makes me frustrated. Frustrated is a better word. That's a better thing to say. And look, I'm not saying Cat's Cafe is a bad adaptation. It's like much better than I could do. I respect all of these people who are doing programming. Thank you so much for doing this and making all of these games available to us. But I'm just saying that there could be more guidance for these people to say this is what should be done. And if we talk about Go Nuts for Donuts, which you can see I played a few games on the arena. if you click a thing and then other people haven't chosen yet, you can click it to say, you know what, I'm going to take it back. I'm going to change my mind. And as long as other people haven't selected, your timer stops going down. So it's not your time to think. You've already put a thing, and as soon as everyone's put down the thing, then boom, that's it's all revealed. But if you misclick, or if you click and you're like, oh wait, I should have done the other thing, then you can click the card or click another card to go forwards, and boom, it goes up. That's brilliant. And I love Go Nuts for Donuts with the hit boxes. Like when you're deciding, do I click a 1, 2, or 3, you can either click the cards in your hand or you can click the things you're voting for. That's brilliant. And also, let's talk about the zones, like where you're able to click. I mean, there's in some games it's brilliantly highlighted, and I can say, yes, this is clear. By the end of the game, I'm able to learn how to play without reading the rules, just from playing it. And yeah, in some games, like if I have a game of Burgundy, and so like in Castles of Burgundy, sometimes the things that you click will be like, okay, boom, big green circle. This is what you can look at. Some other games, it's like, boom, you can't use these other cards. We're going to desaturate them for you. But still, there's other games that don't do that. Other games which have everything in equal saturation, even though there's a lot of stuff you can't do, you can't manipulate and stuff. Yeah, it's like, come on, get some house style guides. And I think that this could be the thing to really elevate Board Game Arena, because look, I'm not comparing it to other stuff like Yucata, BoardSpace.net, whatever. I'm not comparing it to saying those things are better, this is worse. What I am saying is, I'm just saying that it could be better. It reminds me of like Magic the Gathering in Alpha, in those early days where every card was written a different way and people would get confused and it's not really accessible. And then when you see a new card, you're like, okay, I need to kind of work out what this means, and there'll be rule confusions all the time. And then eventually, around 6th edition, they really nailed it down, and by then they were having copy editors who were really making sure that the words used were all the same, and they used the style guides. Like for the natural language, they used the Chicago Style Guide, which is why recently, when the Chicago Style Guide said you can use they as a third person singular gender neutral pronoun, Wizards of the Coast started using they instead of saying he or she, because he or she in a world of non-binary folk is not appropriate. It's not great. It's a little bit exclusionary. So yeah, things like that. And also pronouns, talking about pronouns, I mean, some pronouns in Board Game Arena, some of those are not quite right. And look, it's one of those things where it says, oh, this is like a nice to have, we don't really need it. The longer you wait, the worse it's going to be. So like if anyone from Board Game Arena is watching this, I plead to you, please employ someone. Like I would happily take that job and start writing down from a what I want is, I wouldn't actually encourage you to hire me, although I'd probably do it less for a user experience expert. But what I really want is for someone to come in, play every game, be like, okay, these are the things that are interacting with the user interface. These are the notable things. Okay, let's go through all of the other stuff. And like, I'm going to play all the Board Game Arena games. So I've already got to starting point. But like, all the abstract games should work in the same way, so that when you come from one to the other, it works in the same way. Tooltips should give you similar amounts of information. Understanding where to click should generally be an understandable thing. Like in Teotihuacan, it's lovely, you've got the big, bold borders, but whilst that's fine, why is it not slightly homogenized? Why is it not, okay, in our games, this is how you indicate to players that you can't interact with something? Maybe you highlight there's lots of ways to do that. You've got ones where you put highlight marker on it, like there's a big green box on it. I think like there's ones where there's like a green circle. There's ones where the thing has been bordered by something in, I think it was your player color in Teotihuacan. There's versions where nothing happens, and that's obviously the worst of all. Teotihuacan, there we go. Yeah, you can see there the big green border on the right that shows, and also on the top that shows that that player is able to, yeah, move them, and now it's changed, showing that they can't be interacted with. And or you could fade out stuff, and like I'm okay with any of these. I mean, as long as something is used and as long as it's clear. But and the clarity, kind of, yeah, I need some guidance, and yeah, it should be done from the perspective of, sure, there are people playing Teotihuacan who've already played it in real life, and there's people who played Robot States or Pizza who've already played it in real life. But let's be honest, I think with both of these games, there's going to be people who say, oh, well, here's a game I've heard of, or here's a game I've never heard of. I wonder what it's like. And let's try it and make it accessible for those people, please. Work out what is most accessible and make that your style guide so that we can move on from this analog of everything being its own and players having to discover everything in a new way, and bring that into like, okay, you've played one game, now you understand how all our games work. Okay, you've played one game where you click and then you click again to confirm or click elsewhere to not do that move. That's a brilliant system. Why can't that be in every single game? Why can't that be one of the things where before a game goes from beta into the final thing, someone from the team says, you know what, this is great, but you've not quite, like, have a style guide manager, have someone who is there to enforce all of these things and to give the developers some, assistance. That's what I'm asking for, ideally. Anyway, that's me. Question of the day. Here's a little question before we go on our way. Question of the day: what is the last game you played? Yeah. For me, if I include digital games, it's possibly Couple on Board Game Arena. I did all of the moves before I went to bed. Now there's a bunch more moves to do. But yeah. Yeah. Over to you. What's you up to? You can share Botany if you want to. What's you up to today? I'm actually going to check my to-do thing. I've got I'm going to try and sort out a couple of conventions, multiple conventions, and you know what, I might update the couple rankings, because that seems like a low energy thing to do that I can probably do, and maybe even get stuff to Kate would be good. Yeah, lots of admin, but like I'm not going to work too much. I am still taking it relatively easy, and I am definitely aiming to go dancing tonight. Hopefully I can pluck up my courage and energy. Is there anything that you want to share, something that you're looking forward to, something that you need to do? Please share. I promise I care. As always, if you write in the comments, I'm interested. So let me know. Recap and wrap up before we finish up. So to recap and wrap up, I think Board Game Arena is great, but there's a lot of inconsistencies, and it would be good if there was a style guide and there was a style guide manager to someone who was really experienced and really understood user experience, really understood board games, really understood when things should be the same and when it's okay, like highlight things unless there's only X number of objects on the thing, like go nuts to donuts. I don't think that needs the things to be highlighted, because there I think everything can be clicked, which is quite amazing. But yeah, stuffbybez.com. Stuff by Bez in all of the places, and don't have much planned. Next Wednesday, I'm going to continue my thing. Otherwise, if you've got any questions, let me know. Share, spread the word. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And for now, the only thing left to say is bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye. 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 Bye. Bye.